Hey there, I'm Tom Finch. Today we'll be talking about the parallel modes in the key of C. In my last video, which you can check out on my channel, we talked about the relative modes in the key of C. So today, the parallel modes, meaning that every mode is going to start on the C note. And as you can see on the tabs here, there are 3 major modes, which I've listed in what I consider their most common occurrence. So Ionian, Mixolydian, and Lydian. And then 3 minor modes, Aeolian, Dorian, and Phrygian, and 1 diminished mode, Locrian. If we go to my handy dandy mode wheel, which you can find at modewheel.com, the mode wheel defaults to C major, which has no sharps or flats. And I'm using this as a template for the major modes, meaning that when we go to Mixolydian, we're going to use the major scale but flat the 7. And when we go to Lydian, we're going to use the major scale but sharp the 4. Looking at C Ionian at the top of the page here, Ionian is going to be your go-to for most kind of upbeat, pop, happy sounding songs and scales. So starting with your middle finger on the 8th fret of the 6th string, the fingering is middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, ring, pinky. That's your first octave. Next string, index, ring, pinky, middle, pinky, index, middle, second octave. There's a pinky on top and then coming down, octave, octave. It's a really familiar sound, right? Kind of a happy, sunny sound, right? Very familiar, very poppy, a lot of folk stuff. So Ionian's going to be your go-to for a lot of folk and pop sounding material. And the Ionian scale is going to work really well over all the chords in the key of C, which you can see again on the mode wheel are C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major. So, second major mode I would like to discuss is Mixolydian. And Mixolydian is major scale with a flatted 7th, sometimes also called a minor 7th. So Mixolydian is going to begin with the middle finger on the 8th fret of the 6th string. And it's going to start just like the major scale. Middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky. So there's where the 7th is flatted. Normally you would have this major 7th for Ionian, but for Mixolydian, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you get this flat 7th. Okay. Continuing on, index, ring, pinky, index, ring, pinky. So notice that shift I did there on the 2nd string, moving to the 8th fret with my index, ring, pinky. There's the flat 7 again. Index, and then I reach with my middle, and then my pinky. Some people aren't so comfortable with that reach there, but if you drop your thumb a little lower, get your hand to spread out a little bit. There's your octave, flat 7, pinky. So notice I shifted there again. Okay, there's the octave, flat 7, index, octave. So Mixolydian, it's kind of like your R&B major, if you will. It's got more of a kind of a blues R&B application. You're going to hear this in a lot more kind of blues-based music, jam band music. Grateful Dead uses it a lot. So it's a really good kind of jam major scale. Sometimes I say if you take the major scale and you rub some dirt on it, you get Mixolydian. Okay, and if we look at the mode wheel again, and we change the mode wheel from Ionian to Mixolydian, you can see that Mixolydian now, C populates down here. All the same notes as major, except for this B flat. This is our flat 7 here. And the chords in the key of C Mixolydian are C major, D minor, E diminished, F major, G minor, A minor, and B flat. So the C to B flat is a really common progression. Also, the C major to G major is a real nice sound and a good indicator that you're in Mixolydian, to have a major 1 and a minor 5. It's the only key, the only mode that gives you a major 1 and a minor 5, or in that case, a major 1 and a major 7. So these are other important things to know about the modes, not only the scale, but the context, the application, when to use them. Okay, so moving on to C Lydian, like the others, we'll start on the 8th fret, 6th string, middle finger, pinky, index, ring, pinky. So there's your sharp 4. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5. Index, ring, pinky to the octave. Moving on, index, ring, index. There's your sharp 4 again. Index, middle. Pinky on top, octave, sharp 4, octave, sharp 4, octave. This is a good Lydian chord here. So this is each mode has kind of an associated chord quality with it. So for Lydian, it's this major 7 with a sharp 11 or sharp 4th. Pinky on the 4th string, 10th fret, ring finger, index, barring the top 2 strings. So 10, 9, 7, 7, and then I grab the root with my middle finger, and I mute the 5th string. Nice major 7, sharp 11. So yeah, it's got a fun cartoony sound, kind of progressive, a little bit quirky. Danny Elfman uses this a lot. Progressive music, some classical music. You'll hear it here and there. Not really common in much folk or popular based music. And so looking at the mode wheel, if we change from Mixolydian to Lydian, now C populates here in the Lydian position. There's our sharp 4, right? So C, D, E, F sharp is the sharp 4, G, A, B, C. And a really common chord progression in Lydian is from the major 1 chord to the major 2 chord. So that's going to be a really, probably one of the more common progressions in Lydian is from a major 1 to a major 2. Only place on the wheel where that progression happens. Okay, so those are the 3 major modes. C Ionian, associated with a major 7 chord, or 1, 4, 5, also really common, okay? 1, 6, 4, 5, really common, okay? And then Mixolydian was the 2nd mode, sometimes called dominant, associated more with R&B and blues. 1 to flat 7, or even just a straight up C7 chord. Kind of James Brown vibe. Or the 1 to the minor 5, I hear a lot of reggae. Do that 1 to minor 5. Okay, so those are the 3 major modes. So moving along to the minor modes, we'll start with Aeolian. And Aeolian I'll be calling the natural minor scale. And this is the 4th line down on the tab here on the screen. And Aeolian is sometimes I call the melancholy minor. It's going to be your kind of go-to for more melancholy music, you know, a little darker, more brooding, if you will. And the scale is going to start with the index finger. All these minor scales start with the index root. Notice that all the major modes started with the middle root. So we're going to start with the index now on the 8th fret of the 6th string. And the fingering is going to be index, ring, pinky, index, ring, pinky, index, ring. That's your first octave. Then we're going to slide back to the 7th fret, index, middle, pinky, sliding back to the 8th fret, index, middle, pinky, index. That's your octave, ring, pinky, coming down, octave. There's our shift there. There's the ring finger on the octave. Back to the octave. Okay, it definitely has a somber kind of tonality to it. So whenever I'm thinking of kind of evoking this kind of somber mood, Aeolian is my go-to. And if we look at the mode wheel, we're going to switch now to Aeolian. Now C populates here. And now we got some flats. So we're on the flat side of things. C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. And common progressions in Aeolian: minor 1, minor 4, minor 5. Kind of a good contrast to C Ionian, where we started, which had the major 1, major 4, major 5. Right? So Aeolian is like the kind of the counterbalance to that. So minor 1, 4, 5. Okay, lots of other progressions here. This is a really common one here with the walk down from C minor to B flat to A flat. Watchtower. Okay, so those are really common progressions there in Aeolian. Okay, now in contrast, Dorian, sometimes I call the party minor or the bright minor. So it's the same fingering until we get to the 6th note. Dorian has this sharp 6th, okay? So 1, 2, 3, or index, ring, pinky, index, ring, and then we're going to shift back to the index finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. So that's the 6th scale degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sharp 6, 7, 8. So there's your first octave. Continuing on, index, middle, pinky, shifting up, index, ring, pinky. That's your sharp 6 right there. Index, ring, pinky. Octave, sharp 6. Octave, sharp 6. Back down to the octave. Okay, so this is great for funk music, kind of more celebratory minor music. Santana uses it a lot. You're hearing a lot of kind of dance music. And as I mentioned, each mode has a unique progressions. So if we switch the mode wheel to Dorian, now C populates here in the Dorian position. I would say the most common progression in Dorian is this minor 1 to the major 4. Okay, so C minor to F major. So that's a really common progression. And again, the only place on this wheel where you're going to get a minor 1 and a major 4. So each mode has certain progressions that are unique to that mode, giving it its certain character and quality. Another really common one here is C minor to D minor. Okay, so that's the only place where this happens on the wheel also. Only place you're going to get consecutive minor chords. That's Dorian, or the bright minor. And let's move on to Phrygian. So Phrygian has a flat second. And starting with the index on the 8th fret, index, middle, pinky, index, ring, pinky, index, ring. So there's your flat 2 right out of the gate. Index, middle, pinky, index, ring, pinky, index, ring is the octave. Okay, moving on. Pinky is the flat 2 again. Index, ring, index, middle, pinky, index is the octave. Middle is the flat 2, octave, flat 2, octave, flat 2, octave. Phrygian, as you can probably tell, has got kind of a gypsy or Spanish flavor to it. Kind of a south of the border vibe. So if you're trying to get kind of a gypsy Spanish flair, Phrygian is a great mode to go to. And if we go to the mode wheel here and switch to Phrygian. So now Phrygian is populated here. And by far the most common progression in Phrygian is this up a half step. So in the key of C, from C to D flat. And back, so this pivot here. You can also go down to the B flat minor. Oftentimes I like to pivot between C to D flat and then C to B flat minor. It's a really nice sound. So that's a really nice Phrygian sound. So those are the 3 minor modes. Aeolian, the natural minor, the melancholy minor, okay? Minor 1, minor 4, minor 5, or the walk down, minor 1, major 7, major 6. Okay, we hit Dorian, or the bright minor, really common, minor 1 to major 4. Or the minor 1 to the minor 2. Okay, really common for Dorian. And then Phrygian. The minor 1 to that flat 2 major. Minor 1 down to minor 7. So you can really get the character of these modes, beyond just the scale, but the progressions that these scales relate to. So for improvising or composing, this is really key for having a sense of when to use these scales, when to use these modes, what progressions link up with which scales and modes. Okay, last but not least, Locrian is our diminished mode, kind of the outlier. And you're not really going to find any song in Locrian. Locrian is going to be more of a mode that is a supporting mode. So you'll see it as a 2 chord in Aeolian. Here, we'll go to the mode wheel, check it out. So if we go to, there we go, C, Locrian. So if we had been in B flat minor, you could see this as a 2 chord. If If we had been in D flat major, it would be the 7 chord. So, it'll get used as a supporting, sometimes I'll use it, like say if I'm in A flat Mixolydian, I'll use it as a 3 chord. So I'll use it kind of as a substitution or in the context of another key, but not really as a home center. It's just too unstable, really. So starting with the index on the 8th fret, it's index, middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, ring. So it's got a root, a flat second, flat third, fourth, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, octave. So everything's flat, including the 5th, which is why we really are not going to hear songs in Locrian. That perfect 5th is kind of key for giving us a tonal center and some stability. Okay, so continuing on from that octave, pinky, index, ring, pinky, middle, pinky, index. There's your octave, middle, pinky, octave, octave, octave. So what I'm really thinking about when I'm playing this is I'm really thinking about major from D flat because I hardly ever play the Locrian scale. So now the way I tend to use this scale more often than just a scale is as an arpeggio. I really like this sound. So I'm using this half diminished arpeggio, which goes index, pinky, middle, index, ring. Sometimes this is also called the minor 7 flat 5. Okay, and then I go to index, pinky, pinky. There's a little jump there with your pinky, index, pinky. So that's a cool sound, and I'll use this, as I mentioned, in other keys, other modes, but not really as a tonal center. So these are the 7 parallel modes in the key of C, meaning each time we're starting on that C note. So these are terrific patterns, really invaluable to learn, just to know how to improvise in different scales, in different keys, different progressions. Learning which chord progressions are associated with each mode is really important, really helpful, very beneficial. All right, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below or let me know any lessons you'd like to see in the future. I'll be posting lessons weekly. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. You can also go to tomfinch.com or modewheel.com. And I'll see you next time. All right, peace out.